Hello travelers, this is Kino, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, or whatever I'm going to actually be doing with this YouTube channel. I might be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I am now. Right now I'm on duelingbook.com because it's like Dueling Network, which was really nice. And I'm going to be making variation of well, one of my really favorite decks being the Gravekeepers. I might be doing a bit of casual play with this deck because, well, the deck isn't very good for a competitive tournament, but it's fun to play around with, and I have not seen this Gravekeeper's Esper before. Two Gravekeeper's monsters gains attack and defense equal to the total original levels of the materials. I believe that's somewhat similar to... I guess it might not be to, Oracle. Maybe... I thought it was Oracle. Yeah, gains it right there. Gains attack equal to all combined levels that were attributed on the field. So, trusting Espers like that. While Necro Valley is on the field, discard... Wait, while Necro Valley is on the field, discard and the card in your field zone, Necro Valley, unless you have Gravekeeper's Princess, which counts as having Necro Valley on the field as well. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Oh, so this is going to be a really good way to keep Necro Valley there. That's going to be a really important thing to have, because Necro Valley is a very, very important, especially if you want to have a shutdown deck using Hidden Temples of Necro Valley and prevent your opponent from special summoning basically anything. During main phase, you can add one Gravekeeper's monster or one Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. During the end phase of that turn, you can okay, so it just, you declare in the main phase and then it takes effect in the end phase. You can only use this effect once per turn. Okay, fair enough. And this also is new to me. Gravekeeper's Cleric. I just logged in and there seems to be some new Gravekeepers, which is really fantastic. I love Gravekeepers, and so it's gonna be, actually did not plan to review this at this time. I just sort of logged in and it's like, oh, hey, I was planning on doing this. If this card is summoned, you can target one level 4 Gravekeeper's monsters from your graveyard, special summon an attack or face down defense position. That's important. I'm gonna speak as though I am assuming that people don't know, even though, hey, maybe some of you do know, but, but face down defense position is important because cards like Gravekeeper's Guard and Gravekeeper's Spy are flip effects, and they're actually really powerful. They're really powerful defensive creatures, and there's also, Gravekeeper's Noble, I believe, that will do a similar thing, special summoning, but it special summons from the deck. It'll special summon a monster in defense position, face down defense position. Unaffected by Necro Valley, because Necro Valley is an awesome way to shut down things, so you need special words to get around that. And you can only use it once per turn. That's pretty average. Spiritualist. If Necro Valley is on the field, you can fusion summon a spellcaster monster from your extra deck using materials from your hand or field, including this card. Oh, okay, so the plan is to use Spiritualist to summon our good friend Esper, who looks like Heretic. Yeah. And here's Gravekeeper's Nobleman. Destroyed by battle, special summon, and face down defense position, as you might expect. Does look like the only new cards, unless there's a new type of Necro Valley. Throne of Necro Valley, that's new. Activate one of these effects, add a Gravekeeper's monster from your deck to your hand. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a Gravekeeper's monster from your hand. So, just to get out more creatures. It seems that... Oh no, Sacred Temples is a new one as well. Okay, so that's interesting. Well, both Gravekeeper's monsters... Well, both the Gravekeeper monster and Necro Valley are on the field. It's an infinite trap. Your monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. Play on the standard Necro Valley, which gives your creatures 500 attack and defense, so it would actually be 1,000-point difference with this. During your main phase, if you control no cards in your field spell zone... Wait, if you control no cards in your field zone, you can activate one Necro Valley from your hand or graveyard. This card in your possession is destroyed. If this card in your possession is destroyed by a card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can set one Necro Valley spell or trap directly from your deck except for Sacred Temple. So, first thing I'm going to do is add in these Sacred Temples, because being able to recover Necro Valley is crucial to a Gravekeeper's deck. It really does. A lot of the effects do, especially when you're trying to shut people down, Necro Valley is important. Set one Necro Valley spell or trap, so that's also a good way to read out your hidden temples. Or I'm not sure how good it's going to be, but that might be a good way to do it. I'm liking the idea of it. I don't normally like Imperial Tombs, because it's a bit harder. It's a bit difficult to do. It's a bit difficult to do relative to, say, a Dark Bribe. Like, normally I'd replace my Imperial Tombs with Dark Bribes, because while Hidden Temples is just as difficult to get, it was just easier to it's the most effective way of doing it. Before having sacred temples really keep a Necro Valley around and be able to sort out getting Necro Valleys, I'd replace Imperial Tombs with Dark Bribes. I'm going to add Imperial Tombs for now. I'm actually gonna Dark Bribe. I'm gonna put Dark Bribes on the side, just because I'm not sure how effective it's actually going to be. And Throne of Necro Valley. It's kinda nice, but it's kinda not great. I guess I'll put it on the side because I don't normally have a problem with that. But let's go to the main monster section. A lot of variations that can be done with the Grave Keepers. Sometimes it revolves around simple negation. I think that's what I'm leaning into, especially with the interesting part of having sacred temples. I'm going to go for powerful negation, and that means that I'm going to take Commandant. Sometimes say Combatant, but it doesn't really make sense. But this one just is a simple way to search out Necro Valley and to power up one of my favorite cards, Visionary. This one's special because it's got a lot of staying power. It can be tributed by only one Gravekeeper monster, and it gains 200 attack for each Gravekeeper in your graveyard. So, if you get out Necro Valley and you tribute summon it, it's already at 2,700, and it really just goes up from there. And what I really like about it is that if this card would to be destroyed, you can discard a Gravekeeper's monster instead. So if you've got a large hand of Gravekeepers, this thing has a lot of staying power. I've used it to I've used it to really avoid so long as you're consistently drawing good Gravekeepers monsters, this thing can have a lot of staying power, and what's more is that every time an opponent attacks or anytime an opponent fails to destroy it, it gets stronger. So it can be a really dangerous thing to run up against. Oh, and here's a good spell. This is a simple spell that allows you to target Gravekeepers in your graveyard and bring them back to your hand. This is important. Well, not sure how important it's going to be for this deck, but I like it because it does help Visionary, it does help recover Gravekeepers. I'm not sure if I'm gonna take a look at this again. This does have the ability to search it out, so I guess I'll see about it. I can put the 3 in the extra deck, put the 3 here, so that we can fusion summon it. Gravekeeper Shaman, might need to actually edit this a bit after I take everything. I might cut everything down to 2s instead of 3s, since I'm already at 27, well, 27 out of 40, yeah, so I'm only a little over halfway. Shaman is like an inverse Visionary. It It gains 200 defense for each Gravekeeper in the graveyard, so it's going to be on the defensive side. And it has the power to negate all monster effects in the graveyard except Gravekeeper's monsters. That doesn't really come up as much, although it can. It mainly actually falls under the Necro Valley, which negates card effects that would Necro Valley negates Monster Reborn because creatures in the graveyard cannot be creatures in the graveyard cannot be moved out of the graveyard unless it's by their own effect. Actually, that's kind of new for me. Negate any card effects that changes the type or attributes of monsters in the graveyard. That's a little bit interesting. I don't see it being too relevant. The only thing that comes to mind is I know of a Cyber Dragon deck that uses DNA surgery to change everything into machines, and that's sort of helpful for it, but that would be negated because it would change the effects of cards in the graveyard. It also prevents you from banishing things from the graveyard, which I sometimes like using a banishing deck, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy at the beginning, and it's a pretty powerful thing, but what's really powerful about it is the Hidden Temples, which prevent everyone from special summoning any monster that is not a Gravekeeper. And I think that this is one of the reasons why I love coming back to the Gravekeepers so much. All of the modern decks using Link summons, going back older stuff, is the Pendulum summons and the XYZs. They require special summonings, and there really aren't, like, this is the first real special summon thing that you can do from an extra deck. That's Gravekeeper. So Hidden Temples is, there are a few different, to the extent of my knowledge, Gravekeepers went through a few phases, maybe 3. I think this might be the 3rd phase. This is, might be the 3rd phase, adding in stuff like Esper. But I'm getting sidetracked. What I want to do is add in these Recruiters, and what Recruiter does is that when it gets sent to the graveyard, note, not from the field to the graveyard, just to the graveyard, so you can use it in conjunction with Visionary, you can search out another Gravekeeper. A way to keep your hand still firmly stocked. Other good ones is Descendant, and Descendant allows you to tribute a Gravekeeper. You tribute another Gravekeeper, you can't tribute Descendant. And you can destroy a target, so that's nice. Looking at Cleric, this card is summoned. This will be good because it, I think this might be good, as it does allow you to summon things, but on the other hand, you could use Heretic. Heretic's the most brawny. Could go for Spear Soldier to inflict piercing damage. Spy. Definitely Spy's a good option, and I'll grab Guard. Guard is also just a really good option to have. Manipulate the field a lot. Makes people worry about your face downs. Don't want to walk into a Guard. I've got one more for my minimum. There's a sort function for this thing. Set as default, import, export, clear, new, rename, delete, say, I guess sorting it A to Z is what you get with this thing. So yeah, we've got a lot of Gravekeepers. Trying to see and think what we could really use. I might just add in a Nobleman. Nobleman's nice, and it allows us to search out Spy, and Spy can use us. We can use to special summon Descendant and just start chaining things. Spy is also just really powerful defense if you can use it to get Visionary. I'll keep also Curses on the side deck. Curses are nice because they inflict damage and they're just cheap to summon. Inflict 500 damage when they're summoned. Oracle. Contribute 1 to 3 Gravekeeper monsters to activate 1 to 3 of its effects. It's pretty powerful. Not really my favorite, but pretty powerful. Yeah, I think that this is it. I'm gonna save this deck. And, if you're interested in Yu-Gi-Oh!, possibly Magic, possibly might be doing some music stuff, that some stuff might already be on the channel already, but yeah, if you're interested in any of those, or have any suggestions, leave a comment, and welcome to the channel.